So the first one, the service offering that everyone wants. Or not everyone, but 73%. So in the survey, they stated that 81% of them, that they felt that funerals should celebrate life and not only dwell on a loss. And when they were asked about their own service, 73% said that they wanted a celebration of life for themselves. Now, I don't know about you, but where I come from, there's not 73% of services. You know, there's a lot of immediate cremation where the funeral home's not involved, and I'm not sure about your area, but still, and this isn't including the traditional church services that we've had and will continue to have, but 3/4 of the people were saying, when they were looking at their own service, they weren't saying that they didn't want a service. They wanted it to be a celebration of life and not only dwell on the loss. And you see, this kind of comes back to one of the biggest mistakes that we've made as an industry. And I don't know when it happened or how it happened, but you know, you would fail your business degree if you came up with this, and somehow we did it. But we took our most profitable service offering, our traditional funeral, and we defined it by something that they don't see much value in. And no offense to the manufacturers and the suppliers and the casket manufacturers, but for some reason, and we'll look into this a little bit deeper, the public doesn't see value in caskets, urns, and vaults. It's not that they don't like them, they just don't like the prices that we charge for them. And we're going to get into that a little bit later. But since we took our best service offering, our traditional funeral, and we defined it with having a casket present. And so the top definition here would be one, this is something that I was taught, and probably something similar for yourselves. What's a funeral? Well, a funeral is a traditional service for the deceased at the chapel or the church with the casket present. We always put that little caveat in at the end. Where in the dictionary, Merriam-Webster dictionary, a funeral is the observances held for a dead person, usually before burial or cremation. And that's actually, I think, a better definition because it gives us more openings, more opportunity. But we've defined a funeral with having the casket present. So what happens, we're in the arrangement conference or in the selection room, and the couple here asks the funeral director Rogers there, looks like Mr. Rogers with his nice mauve sweater on. Well, we're not sure if we should have a memorial service or a funeral service. What's the difference, Mr. Funeral Director? Well, the funeral director will say, based on what our definition is, well, the difference really is between the casket being present or not. And they might think, oh, well, if that's an option, maybe we don't want to have the casket present. And then for the funeral director, their average just went down. They're not going to probably have a visitation. And I don't have to explain to you the dominoes that happen when people go from having a memorial service or a funeral service to a memorial service. Interesting, though, for Michael Jackson's funeral, as I was watching all the news leading up to this, and I'm sure that if we had services like this all the time, people would be happy. It looks like a Promethean there at the front of the Staples Center. But I heard the commentators using the term over and over again, and so I did a little research on my own, Googled Michael Jackson funeral service. And at that time, this was just a couple of weeks since he died and right after the funeral. There's 39,000 results. Then I Googled Michael Jackson memorial service, and there's 9.6 million results. So people were saying that this was a memorial service. And, looking at it, it doesn't. It looks to me like, based on our definition, a funeral service because the casket's present. Now, there's some debate whether he was in the casket or not, but the casket's present, but everyone was calling it a memorial service. So if we had memorial services like this, I don't think we'd have a problem. But we've done it to ourselves, and we've defined funerals with caskets, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. So we don't want to make the same mistake, though, when we add to your price list a new service offering. And if you haven't done so already, you should have another one, and call it Celebration of Life. And basically, you can take what you have written in your description for your traditional funeral, maybe just take out the part, don't put any limitations regarding merchandise, just leave it a little bit more open, and put it there. Have it at the same price. You don't need to discount it at all. These people are wanting it. They're not saying that they want it at a cheaper price. They want to have a celebration of life. You see, because other companies do this as well, and this is just basic marketing. Here's Excedrin. Now, we can't get Excedrin migraine here in Canada. And I know that there's actually some people, when they go down to the States, they go to the pharmacy and they buy Excedrin migraine for the people who actually have migraines. And they bring it back over the border and that. But if you look at the contents of Excedrin Extra Strength and Excedrin migraine, it's the exact same thing. It's just different packaging. So, but if you're a sufferer of migraines, and you're standing there in the aisle thinking, how do I get rid of this headache? And you see Extra Strength or migraine, what are you going to go to? You're going to go to the migraine. And you might even pay a little bit more money for it, because that's going to solve your problem that you want. So we can do the same for Celebration of Life. So if you want to do this, this is all you need to do. Your action plan would be just copy and paste your traditional service offering from your price list, add a couple returns in your Word document, put a title called Celebration of Life, paste it in. Don't mention anything about casket or merchandise. Leave the same price, and then when you're handing out your price list, or when you're talking about the services that you offer, if someone says, you know what, Dad didn't want to have a funeral. Oh, that's no problem. Would you want to have a celebration of life? Oh yeah, that would be better. But we just assume that when people say, I don't want to have a funeral, means that, okay, well now I'm down to memorial service, and if I don't get that, then I'm down to no service. So here's now another option. So this is the first action plan that you can take.